Hello, everybody. It's John Kranz. I want to welcome you to this very special episode number 50. It's a pretty exciting milestone to have our 50th live episode and to have you joining us tonight. So really appreciate it from whatever time zone you're in. I know we have some people, somebody in Australia enjoying lunch right now, and folks usually joining us in the UK and other parts in the early morning hours. So as always, it's a pleasure to have you here. And as always, yes, we're going to focus on some opening segments around the website and a few other things, but also do want to mention that our special guest for this broadcast is Adam Starkweather. He's a returning guest. We've had Adam on before for other games that we've since released, and we're going to be talking with Adam about mainly the Doomsday Project, which is episode 1, The Battle for Germany. That's actually going to be our next release, as you're going to see here in a moment. So let's go ahead and switch over to our new website. So again, this may have seen the new website already that we've just launched. Just want to say a few comments about it. Usually when you come to the homepage for the first time, you're going to get a bit of a notification that's going to take you to an FAQ entry that's trying to explain largely how to enable your account. So everybody's account is in our system, but you do have to reset your password. You do have to go and hit the forgot password option to actually gain access. So even though we've got your account, you can't use your old login. You're going to have to actually request a new password, and it will be handled via email. That note, by the way, is in our news section. So it's actually right here. It's this pinned note. Welcome to the New Compass website. And what we really focus on here is, again, we talk about the account, how you can log into your account using forgot password function. And then if you have any account problems, we have a dedicated email address we've set up just for addressing how to get access to your account. So we've got a special new site help at compassgames.com address you'll see there. And then the rest pretty much focuses on how we went about coordinating and organizing how to display all past orders, all current orders, whether it's a pre-order, a pay later, from our Gumroad system or even from our previous system. Everything's covered pretty much in this FAQ, but of course we understand no FAQ is perfect. So if you have questions, you want to go ahead and send an email directly to us at sales@compassgames.com. That's our main office address where we can give you that support. We can help you with your orders. One thing I do want to mention that I found interesting was if you feel like you don't see all your orders, I did find out there are several ways that can happen. And one is the use case would be if you logged in as a guest or you just used a different email address that doesn't match your current account. So if there's a case where you had a different email address you use, whether it was as a guest or just a previous account, what you can do is just send an email to sales@compassgames.com. Just mention that here's your current account email address, but you seem to be missing orders, and maybe just give us the other email addresses you may have placed orders under. And what we'll do behind the scenes is we'll try to map and link all those previous orders from those other email addresses you may have had so they can show up under your account. So again, that's the main point of the new website. So under my account, you'll see here, you're going to want to go to login if you already have an existing account. And again, when you go to login, please go directly to lost your password at the bottom section there. That's going to be your first step. Otherwise, you can obviously create a new account. Also, notice I can't talk about the join the newsletter that we send out weekly because it's not, that yellow-orange box isn't violating your eyes anymore. It's actually up here in the top toolbar, or I'm sorry, top header area. You want to click on newsletter and mailer, and that's going to take you to our newsletter mailer page. So on the left is the email newsletter, and in the middle there, that's that catalog we send out once a year that has everything in it. So just a tip that we moved the newsletter feature over. But again, from the home page, you'll notice the talk to us, the waving hand is still there. And just as a reminder, if you need help with any order statuses, things that would be for the sales office folks, shipping status, just checking on something, you want to go straight to sales@compassgames.com because I'm going to be the, what do you call, the bump in the road, because I don't handle orders and shipping fulfillment. You want to go straight to the sales office for that. So you want to definitely use that email address. But then please send me your suggestions, feedback, questions. We use those for the Compass Game Town Hall, obviously every 2 weeks with Bill Thomas. Let's now talk about the product pipeline snapshot. I've updated it earlier today. So on the right side, we have our recent releases, and it was a surprise release announcement last week during our town hall that Bill Thomas mentioned that the Battle of Armageddon shipped, even though we didn't have it on our upcoming title schedule. We just sort of inserted it in and just shipped it out right away by Carrie Anderson. And I noticed some people here said they have just received the game as recent as today. So very excited to see that. We also have an unboxing video, at least one, maybe two, on the Console World News Desk you can check out that I believe Mo's Game Table, Maurice Fitzgerald did. And also, let's now talk about the upcoming release schedule. So hopefully you can see the screen okay. I guess I can go one level in to see if it stays. Yes, so here we go. So on the left side, we have upcoming titles. So Doomsday Episode 1, Battle for Germany. We're going to talk to Adam about that here briefly. That's going to be shipping in about a week. That's our next release. And then near the close of March, we have The Lamps Are Going Out, second edition. We get a lot of questions about, will there be an update kit? And we're not doing one because basically every component in the game has been updated. So everything's new out of the box. And yeah, so it's going to be available and shipping before end of this month. And then we have, for April, we have 3 releases, same for May. So we have NATO Paper Wars, which is the Battle for Galicia title by Michael Resch, which I think is going to be another exciting release. And then we have Napoleon's Imperium, which we've talked about before, which is on Kickstarter. And of course, Andrew is joining us from Australia, the designer, Andrew Rowland's here. And we'll have him on, obviously, at some point to talk about his his game as well. And then to round out May, through the end of May, we got those other 3 titles coming up. We got Joe Bukowski's The Korean War. We've got The War of the Pacific and Cradle of Civilization. I will mention for the Korean War, that always seems to like bump just month by month. But that one's locked down. The files are going to the printer on Monday. Just doing the final proofing round with Joe Bukowski, which is really just to say, do you approve for the printer? And so all the files go off on Monday. So the May release date is obviously, we're going to hit that. So that's our release schedule overall. There are other games coming later in the pipeline, of course. If you look at the catalog, you may have the catalog mailer from late last year. We have a lot of dates listed by quarter of the year when games are going to be coming out. Received a lot of questions about when's Defending America going to be released, and that's going to be coming around June, early June for Defending America. And Death in the Trenches will be sometime in the summer as well. I got a lot of questions also about Death in the Trenches. So the most recent release I just want to touch upon here is the Battle of Armageddon. So some of you are now releasing, or I'm sorry, some of you are now receiving this game. And again, it's mainly a 2 to 6 player game. I think Solitaire is rated relatively low. There's some card play there, but it's really meant to be a 2 to 6 player game. And I know there's some scenarios for 2 to 4 players. I'll look to get Kerry Anderson on in a recent episode coming up here shortly, so we can talk about his design. And just as a reminder from the Kickstarter page that we did for Armageddon, here's the rules that you can actually view in line. So we did our Kickstarter just a few weeks ago, fairly recent, but the rules are right here. So this is the rules cover. You can flip through the rules if you want to get an idea about the game. Again, here are the cards where I think the Solitaire play, it's really meant to be face-to-face play. And then if you're always looking to download our rules from this type of interface, you always look to our logo. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see that little tooltip where you can download the PDF. So it's always available for download from there. Which reminds me, I do want to mention about the website that we do know we had an issue when we ported the documents over for download. There was the quotation marks for the URLs were converted to special characters. So right now we understand that you are unable to download PDFs, things of that nature from our website here, but we're on it already. Yeah, we knew about 2 days ago, and we're just researching a way to automate the fix, since we have so many product pages to update, but we're definitely aware of that issue. So downloads might not be working right now, but we're going to be getting it fixed as soon as we can. Also worth mentioning, just since we're on the website again, when you look at our games that we have available, we haven't added a lot of category options yet. As you can see, we've got some sorting, filtering options. We just wanted to get the bare minimum out for the phase 1 launch of the new website. The more we add in, the more we're going to have to test, which really means we won't be as responsive as we need to be as problems arise. So now we can really jump on that download issue right now. But we're going to add categories for games, for example, and I'm going to be focusing on adding categories myself personally, like what's a pure solitaire design game. I'd like to, obviously, which games did we release maybe in 2020, 2019, put a list like that together. What about all the designs under a certain given game system, like a operational scale system, which we're going to talk a lot about tonight. Having those game systems listed as well. So we're going to be working towards that, as well as other enhancements. But we just want to start with the primary, just to get the framework in place so we could troubleshoot and get it working. So again, that's about Armageddon. It's about the website. I do want to transition for a moment just to talk about Shoots Troopa for a moment. Obviously, there's some news I need to share with everybody. So Shoots Troopa, about the game release. So the game's going to be released. We actually did actually Adam, who's going to be joining us, was actually on this same broadcast. I was on with Dennis Bishop back on September 28th of 2018 when we were announcing the project. So that's Dennis right there. And we did have a pause in the project. So we had it on the back burners for a short period of time, and then had to change the artwork a little bit. And then most recently, about 6 months ago, we started a big effort on development and playtesting, which was a pretty big undertaking, actually. So we've been very heavy in the development of the game. We just opened up for playtesting of the recent work of the game. Oh, just about 45 days ago. We started playtesting, and we just opened up a second round of playtesting with a completely new version of the rules because, again, we were looking to refine the game and the system. Dennis was a part of that effort until most recently. He was unable to really correspond with us. And that's sad to say, is because on Tuesday night, I was notified just Wednesday morning, Dennis's wife, Pam, contacted me, and Dennis lost his battle to cancer on Tuesday night of this week. So we're very sad to report that Dennis Bishop has passed away. He won his fight with cancer, but as you know how things go, he's at peace now. And this isn't this is not a first time this has happened with Compass, where we've had a game very close to publication. We also did a game with Steve Rue, a Civil War game, and he was going through the phases of final proofing of things. And unfortunately, we lost Steve Rue, which was a sudden loss for us, for everybody in the community. And of course, his game was published and is available. So really, we're locked and loaded on Shoots Troopa. So obviously, the question is, are we going to honor the game for Dennis, and where is it at? And obviously the game's really at the tail end. It's through the end of development process. We're doing a new round of play testing. I'm going to put out a call for play testers tomorrow. I'll be making announcements online. So if you'd like to be part of this, and this is really going to be in honor of Dennis, he was very happy with where the game was at, and he was very involved in the design and the development as well. So we're looking really to pay homage to him and his memory. And just to let you know, if you're not familiar with Dennis Bishop, he's designed 23 games, 22 of which have been published already. They're listed here on Board Game Geek. If you just look up Dennis Bishop, you'll recognize some of these titles. He worked with a lot of different publishers. I know he's worked with White Dog Games and other publishers as well. Kyber Pass Games also. He was in Command Magazine with like Lions They Fought. A lot of really great, interesting topics. Some esoteric topics as well, which I think everybody really enjoyed about his work. And then, of course, Shoots Troopa here is the one we announced, and we're now going to be releasing. We'll be looking for a release near end of the year. Again, this is a project that's going to be printed overseas, so that does take some extra time. But again, we're just going to go through final rounds of play testing, and our goal is to try to get it out by end of the year. So again, just a great individual, Dennis. Joy to work with. And we're very motivated at Compass to continue working with the project team we have already. But if you'd like to take part in this and sort of tip your hat to Dennis, you'll see my announcement tomorrow. If you'd like to get involved in Vassal module playtesting of the game, please let me know. And we'll open up playtesting for several people that we can accommodate. And we're looking forward to honoring his memory with the release of Shoots Troopa. So with that, I want to move on to Doomsday. So let's go ahead, and what I'd like to do here is welcome in our special guest for tonight is Adam. So Adam, nice to see you again tonight. Thanks for joining us.
How you doing?
So great to have you here, and I know we've got a lot to cover tonight. So I want to get right to it. I'm going to check the viewers' comments here in a moment for sure, but I know we're going to probably cover.
Called up, waiting. We're right here.
That's right. Thanks for being so patient. We had some big news there to cover, and we're excited about Doomsday Project. So that's obviously, I think we're going to have quite a few questions from our Always Shy group here, and we want to let you go ahead. Let's just go ahead and have you start and give the intro elevator pitch of how Doomsday Project came about, what it's based on. Let's just start from the beginning.
Well, I've actually wanted to do Doomsday for like 12 years. It was a project that I had in mind back when I was with MMP. And back then, there were no games out on it. So it was a real, wild card on how it would sell. So it sort of backburnered because we didn't know. And over the years, I think Mark Walker put out some tactical games. and a bunch of the more operational strategic ones have come out and received a lot of interest.
Yeah.
I guess the Doomsday pitch is it's the concept of the game is trying to mix the best of both worlds. I'm a Next War guy. I know there are a lot of Third World War guys, but
Yeah.
I love Next War. In fact, I played Next War about a year ago, and I hadn't played it in 10 years, and I remember the rules. I didn't have to read the rules. That's how much I
Oh,
played it back in the day.
really? Wow, that's
But
really
anyway,
impressive.
yeah, that's how much I played. So I loved Next War, but there were things about Third World War that I really liked. I liked the different theaters. I liked the polish of the game. So the concept of Doomsday overall is a mix of the two. To
Gotcha.
give you the sort of chrome, all that juicy chrome that Next Door gave you, but also the modularity and most importantly, a fun air game that you get in Third World War.
Is the scale
So
about the same as Next War, the game scale? Would you say it's about the same?
I am 12 clicks a hex, and I forget what Next War is, but it's got to be around there.
It's got to be around there, right? Okay.
Yeah, I
And
use brigades and divisions just like Next War.
okay, great. And then the game system or the game series this is based on to share with everybody.
This is OSS. It started with Korea and Vietnam. But this is OSS is more of a family of games than it is a series of games. You couldn't do an OSS series rule book, for example. This has daily turns, and because of that, you have to track equipment by unit as opposed to some sort of overall abstraction of the theater itself, which I did in Korea and Vietnam. If you've played Korea or you've played Vietnam before, it'll be familiar, and certainly the oddities of the system will be familiar too. It does have some unusual abstractions. I was asked about that recently. My answer was it was a poster who asked, "Is Doomsday as abstract as Korea?" And I said, "Well, new abstractions just seem more abstract than old abstractions." And so it certainly has some unusual stuff in it. Movement's a little different.
Yeah.
Combat's a little different. How units get combat strengths a little different. But I'm quite proud of it. I think it's got some novel, interesting stuff in it. The main thing I want to say, though, is, we have all these NATO Warsaw Pact games, whether it be Third World War or Under an Iron Sky, right? Sky. Or
he's a matter of fact, Fabrizio, the designer, is joining us. He's right here saying hello to you. So there you go.
But all of these games are relatively old. Even Iron Curtain, the latest one out, is based on SCS, which is 30 years old.
Yeah.
So I wanted to pick a different gestalt for Doomsday, and it does play differently than those standard World War III games, which by and large are sort of World War II again, where NATO is playing the role of Germany. Yeah. So it's your strong, overwhelming quantity versus quality kind of fight. And my game doesn't do that. My game has a different zeitgeist to it.
So Next War really well, and you're familiar with Third World War series. So it seems like in the last few years, and I know Fabrizio is part of this for sure. He plays a big role in this. There's a really big renewed interest in the whole Cold War, NATO, Warsaw Pact, Europe. It seems a lot of titles coming out. I'm sure there's been some also like in magazine games. I mean, I can't even name them all, not just the big box titles. But do you have any sense of I can't name the reason why that's happening. I don't know if it's because a new designer, new company like Thin Red Line Games came along and that just really propelled the whole topic again. Do you have any inkling on what's really capturing people's interest in this era?
My feeling was back 12 years ago when I was thinking about Doomsday and why it interested me was, while it's not part of history anymore, it's fantasy. Mm-hmm. It's part of wargaming history. I cut my teeth on playing Fulda Gap, Next War, Mech War 77, Red Star, White Star, Foxbat Phantom, all those games, the Modern Battles Quad and all that. And it was where SBI tested their new rules. Fulda Gap has the first untried system, and Next War with all its innovation. So I was trying to peddle Doomsday way back when, before any of these other games had come out.
Uh-huh.
That was the sell. It was our history. It's our hobby history, and a lot of us are older. I'm going to turn 59 next week, so
Mm-hmm.
we remember playing those games, and it's part of our history. So I think that's why they're popular. Gamers that are 30 years old that never lived through the Cold War, they have no real interest in the games, as far as I could tell. But those of us that are gray, between your 50s and 70s, that started the hobby back in the 70s, it's our history, and that's why I think it's popular.
Yeah, Fabrizio makes this comment here that his opinion is we all really want to know how it would have ended up if it had happened. Another thought I had, the reason there may be renewed interest, and I've talked at length with Bruce Maxwell about this. Again, we've got NATO Designer Signature Edition coming, which is really a whole new design with, and the reason it's a whole new design is all this research became available, which wasn't available back in the day, back when we were playing and cutting our teeth on all these games. And for Bruce, it was what really renewed his interest was I've designed a game on this, but now I've got all this new research material. And he's a researcher. He loves doing research, and he knows a lot of researchers. And that's what really, I think, drove him to do NATO for us, designer signature version. So I've heard from others that, yeah, having all these new resources available is really exciting. I hear it's a little tougher on the Russian side still. You have to maybe know Russian well.
Yeah, I had to do a lot of prehistory to make the game work for the Russians. So it doesn't look good for them. But and I have a whole historical background of how it could happen, how the Russians could get the advantage. That's stated if it's in the rule book, which you've posted. So
yeah, and then is that would you say this is one of your favorite? So if you had to pick a favorite era for gaming topics, do you have a favorite? Because you've done a lot of World War II. I know you've you've looked at Napoleonics. I remember you were even considering, was it a Welcom's Victory? There was a big Napoleonic game you were looking at years and years ago, but you seem to cover a lot. I don't know if you've done World War I yet, but you mentioned the Civil War, by the way. I'm going to hold you to that. I still remember the Civil War game from WBC, which was based on
Road to Washington.
Right, Road to Washington.
Yeah, I'm doing
so
that next
I
year.
see you going a few places here, but I'm wondering, do you have a favorite area you like to focus on, or do you like to switch it up?
I'm not sure. I have a soft spot for Napoleonics, although I've never actually published a game in Napoleonics. But Civil War I really enjoy. But I think I enjoy sort of spanning the group. I want to do a classical game, Ancients. So
do you? Ancients too. Wonderful. Okay.
Sure. I mean, it spices it up as a designer.
Now, are we going to keep you in the 3 to 4 map range for everything? I know we have a habit of trying. Well, I take it back. We had the one OSS game, Russia, that was a smaller game. Help me with the title.
No, they're all 3. I think they're
was that one a 3-mapper? I thought it was smaller. Maybe it was just a scenario, but yeah, it had that invasion sequence to it or whatever, but I thought it was a smaller game at Compass Expo. It seems smaller than Montelimar, with the 5 maps.
Oh, no, some of the CSS island games are 2 maps. And one's
that's true. Yeah, that's true. Well, I want to pull up some graphics here as an excuse to maybe... well, let me pull up the map, first of all. So this is the map for the game, correct? Doomsday, Battle for Germany. So how many maps are we talking here, Adam?
3 maps and then one 8.5 by 11.
Well, I guess it would help if I shared, wouldn't it? Right? So here's the map. So this is sort of, I'm going to make it smaller again so everybody can see the maps. 3.5 maps, did you say?
3 maps and then one 8.5 by 11.
Okay, I see the 8.5 by 11. It's on the shoulder there. Okay, and then I'll just zoom in to give everybody a little flavor here so they get a little idea. So here we have Frankfurt area. It's probably going to, hopefully the resolution's not very good. I don't know if that's the file.
Yeah, this is also an old map too. This is not the final map.
Okay, yeah, so we got the maps here. Then on the website, we've got a lot of the counter sheets, etc. But I want to talk a little bit about, for those that aren't familiar with the game series, how could you explain in, say, a minute, the main focus of the system? What are the main decisions that are driving action in the game, if you had a minute to give an elevator pitch of how it plays?
I'll give it a shot in a minute. The original concept of OSS was to make a game based on Road to the Rhine, an old GDW game. It's a favorite of mine. I couldn't make it fit, but it's sort of like a game of mine called A Victory Lost. If A Victory Lost and Road to Rhine had a baby, it'd be OSS. Chit pole, you move one unit at a time. but you can go numerous times. So you could move one unit, clear a space, and move a couple of more, and
Yeah.
clear a space, a couple of, like Road to the Rhine was.
I bet a lot of people here might know that game or might own it. So I remember Roads of the Rhine had that interesting movement with combat where you expended movement to initiate combat in it. That was interesting. And then I guess next war.
Well, you could move as many as you wanted in any particular phase.
Mm-hmm.
It just cost more and more supply as you moved more and more units. Every unit could only move once.
Ah, gotcha.
So, and OSS works like that.
So I'm throwing a curveball. Great. Thanks for the high level explanation. And then I'm throwing a curveball at everybody here because this is not the map for Doomsday Episode 1. What are we looking at here?
Well, this is what I'm working on right now. This is the Balkans game for Doomsday. So this is Volume 2.
So as you can see, this is
Italy all the way down to the Dardanelles.
Yep. So this is next. So this will be next in the second episode, I guess you would call it.
Yeah. And I sent you one that has the Germany map with it. But
yes, I have that. Yeah. Germany map is right here. So we have the Germany map upper left.
By the way, the Balkans map's a work in progress, and Nadir wants me to make sure everyone knows that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But and then so you can cover the entire mainland of Europe and allocate your Soviets to do your bidding throughout it. So and this will have like a Greco-Turkish war scenario in it, and I'm looking at doing a Yugoslavia thing. I do have the Yugoslavians broken down into their different regions. But yeah, and then after this, I'll do the northern game with Norway, and it's still thin in places, so that those of us that are more challenged to reach across tables can still get to the table.
I can see a staggered table setup. I'm thinking of Consum World Expo, where you have the table in the north area, and then you'll have a series of tables sort of come out to the right. Obviously, everything's moving to the right as you go down. So I can sort of see how these tables.
Oh, Nadir sent me how to table it.
There you go. Exactly.
He sent it to me.
So we could join. So we could potentially, when the second episode's out, can we join episode 1 with episode 2 as a joint multiplayer slugfest for like 7 days at an event? Is that possible? Awesome.
Of course.
Awesome. Richard says he's going to need a bigger table. I think it's not just having one big table. I think it's really you have to have multiple tables because you have to go different directions.
Yeah, again, I should have sent it to you. Nadir had actually the table set up, but he was amused by it. I think it was like 2 6x4s and 1 4x3 or something like that.
How hard is it for you? And I know you could probably huddle up with other designers, or I don't know if you do that or not, but is it hard coming up with maps from the 80s? To get all this typography covered, or do you find it's not that big of a challenge? I always hear people talking about order of battle for units, but then when with Bruce, when we did air and armor, and that's a very small area, air and armor, it's not as big as this. Fred Schwartz, who served in the area, actually provided Polaroid pictures of exactly what hex side or what hex number this is looking at. And Bruce found out that he had some hexes wrong, train features completely wrong, based on these photos taken in the 80s when he was based there in Germany. So it was very interesting to see. That's very interesting intel that Bruce got. But I'm just wondering, in terms of map sources in general, I got to bring Fabrizio in one day for his research. But was that tough for you, the maps, or is it more the units? Is it more the order of battle for the units? Is that the tougher nut to crack?
For this stuff, it's tougher for the units. For the mid 80s, I had pretty good map sources. In the Balkans and in Test of Faith, which we might talk about, which is the same system in Arab-Israeli, I have joined forces with a crackerjack researcher named Greg Sarnecki. And he is fantastic in finding maps to use that are contemporary and in getting incredible OB work. So, so he had an easier time. It gets harder the further back you go. And we can talk a little bit about it. I have a CSS game coming out on Berlin in 1985.
Yes.
And it's a gorgeous looking map. And I want to try and use that for 1945 as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And while I might be able to find map sources that are decent for 1945, or at least in the 40s, the early 40s, OB for the Germans in 1945 and OBs for the Russians in 1945 might make it impossible. I'll talk with Greg about it and see what he thinks.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, I think this is exciting. I
Yeah.
mean, I know a lot of us like it. You know, we like the series approach, and actually, I learned that myself. I didn't know that initially. I was getting contacted by individuals saying, "What's the latest series rules? Can you send me the latest series rules for OSS?" And then you educated me, Adam, and you said, "Look, each game's a little different, so it's not like there's a standalone standard series rule booklet, and then you just have a special book on top of it. Every rule book, every game is unique, basically, with its own rule booklet." Did I express that correctly?
Yeah, they're more families than series.
More
Uh,
families and series, right? Yeah.
and I mean, if you've played Korea in particular, but also Vietnam, the approach is similar, but not similar enough that you could have a series rule book. You'd have to, I mean, like, and the same is true for Test of Faith, which is the Arab-Israeli war game. Like, terrain's a big deal here,
Yeah.
but then you go to Test of Faith, and it's all sand and rock. So it's I'm not going to emphasize terrain in that game.
Right. Let's do this. Let's segue for a moment then. So, yeah, if anybody has any questions, I mean, we're still going to be talking about OSS here because we're going to talk about another family covering another era, another theater using OSS, operational scale system. So let me just jump back here to the website and let's talk a little bit about Test of Faith. So again, an OSS game, as everybody can see here in big letters. So this is taking the same system you've done in all these other areas you've mentioned already. So, and this game I think is almost, you're going to be ready to turn in the design, completed design pretty soon, I think.
Finish this. I'm just having it proofed right now.
Just having it proofed. So can we, let's talk about what's this family series about here, Test of Faith?
Well, Test of Faith is more similar to Doomsday than it would be to Vietnam and Korea, primarily because it uses daily turns, which sort of changes a lot of the supply issues and the ammo issues and stuff. Okay. So more similar, but it has an emphasis certainly on politics that you wouldn't get in Doomsday, less an emphasis on terrain that you got in Doomsday. And more, of course, about bridging, about the Suez Canal. Personalities are paramount, in Test of Faith. I put Test of Faith, I put it a little bit below Crisis. A little bit below Crisis Sinai as complexity, but probably above the other ones I've played. It's a relatively complicated design.
Okay, what are we looking at here?
If you know,
yep.
That's the Golan. That's the Golan game. Let me see. It's an older map. It's not the current map, although it's close.
Okay.
But that's one map for the Golan, and then two maps for the. Oh no, it's relatively recent. And then two.
Are these holding boxes for units, or are these just reminders? These raids and garrisons.
Garrison is that's for the Israelis didn't like to use M113s in the Golan. They used M3s.
Okay.
So when they had their M113s, they always stationed them at the bridges as garrison units. And that's what those guys are. So if you get near the bridges and it's a little later, a couple of days into the war, that'll activate the garrisons. The raids are for Arab. The Arabs had a lot of commandos that they broke down into companies, and they dropped them behind the lines in order to inhibit Israeli reinforcements coming in. There was even an attempt to take one of the bridges over the Jordan River that they canceled at the last minute, which you can try and do, by the way, in the game.
Okay, let's show the Sinai map. I'm going to go to show the full map first. So there's two maps for both areas. Right. So here, again, I'm going to have to zoom in because it's really hard to make anything out here, but this is the other map here.
Yeah, the hex grid isn't that prominent.
Yeah, no, it's I don't want anybody to think that, this is, again, it's a PDF on a monitor. So yeah, don't expect, I'll go to 100% scale on it here. So here, maybe it's a little clear picture for everybody.
So there you go. Yeah, you can do the same thing with raiding with Egyptians as you could with.
Okay, yeah.
And then you have the SAM umbrellas, which are shown.
There they are right there. And I recognize that from Bar-Lev. And then there's the canal. Yep. Looks very familiar. Excellent. Yep, looks very good.
Of course, when I look at this, I get this like momentary shudder of fear that I misspelled Chinese farm,
Well, when you proof so much, I know it's a challenge because you start getting blind. You need those blind testers help a lot. But yeah, don't worry about the hex grid, everybody.
All right, sorry. Okay. But yeah, the hex grid is not as prominent as that.
Yeah,
one.
it's not. Yeah, the hex grid. I don't want anybody to. Yeah, we've got control. That's not a problem at all. But I do have this. So you shared this with me. We have looks like we have an interesting display here. Can you sort of walk everybody through what
Yeah,
this is used for?
This is how you play the air game. The air game is played
Okay.
entirely on this. So you, what do we have? The Israelis, right? One of the political things that's a major trigger is when the Israelis nuclear arm an F4, which was a big deal early in the war. It triggered a lot of political events. So they will, in a sense, be forced to do that if a political event happens, and they want to do that because it advances the political track, and they're moving to nickel grass starting when the Americans come in with their reinforcements. So there are, I think, 10 political steps for each side, and you want to advance down, but then again, if two ceasefires happen, the game ends. So you don't want to advance too quickly. Sorry, I went off it. But by the way, this air game is extremely similar to Doomsday. So the Israelis they'll have aircraft in their available aircraft box, all of them that can fly, and then before they'll allocate them to either the Sinai or the Golan.
Okay.
And then the Egyptians will allocate all their aircraft to their various missions. The Israelis will see that, and in Doomsday, it's the guy who has the AWACS advantage would see that.
Okay.
And then the Israelis can put theirs on, and it's a big deal. Like, for example, if the Israelis give up the combat air patrol box. And there's metagaming issues in Yom Kippur. Like the Israelis are forced to bomb the bridges, the Suez bridges, in the first few turns, even though it's not a good idea. But you take your available aircraft. There's a way in which you have to have airfields to fly from, but I won't get into that. And then the airfields can fly these various missions.
Okay, that we see here exactly.
Something.
Okay. Let me do this. Let me. That's a good overview. Let me jump to a question from Shin Godzilla over on YouTube. He's asking you, Adam, how do you reflect the rolling bridge? Is there any special rules or not sure?
Yeah, are you talking about the Israeli? The bridges. The Israelis, I think, have 5 different kinds of ways of crossing the canal. Just bridging units.
Yep.
They have dinghies. They have the rolling bridge. They also have the mobile bridge. I forget what they're called. I could look it up. I have my Doomsday stuff up.
Yeah, no problem.
And they all have special rules. And by the way, another metagaming problem, of course, is that the Egyptians know that the Israelis might cross the Suez Canal. And the Israelis actually had an amphibious plan. So the Israelis, if they can't get over, this is Chinese farm. This is stout-hearted men scenario in which they cross. But of course, the Egyptians know that
here's a bridge right here.
Cross there. The Israelis also
rolling bridge.
Yeah, you can see the bridging units, right? The rolling bridge.
Yeah, you can see one right. There's one right there for sure.
There's only one.
Zoom in maybe a little more.
But you can see the little dings that's next to them, and then the Timsach.
The boats are behind them, and you got the whole thing there. That's great.
They had all kinds of old, and it's all.
Yeah, absolutely. And
but actually, the Israelis, they couldn't do it. But they actually had an invasion plan. They had a specialized force to launch an invasion, just below the Suez, and you can do that in the game too, which I'm not sure you can do in other games. But anyway, I'm excited about it. So I jump around.
No problem. Private Public's asking a great question. Yeah.
Generally, OSS is an extremely good solitaire game. Doomsday is terrific. The only thing about Test of Faith that's a bit compromised, but I had players jury rig around them, is that the outpost, the Bar-Lev line with the little garrisons, and the Golan outposts you draw from a cup to determine which ones are occupied and which ones are empty. And after they're drawn, the Israeli player can look and see which ones are actually occupied or empty. So that's the one place that, at least in Test of Faith, you just put them all out and you roll a die, and it's like a 70% chance of being someone there, 30%. And then once you roll like 3 vacants, then they're all occupied. You have to do something like that. But that's the only solo issue.
Martin's asking if you're considering Sino-Soviet.
Oh, most definitely. Doomsday Project, like Volume 5, I think it is.
Volume 5?
I went to Central America, where the war starts. I got to do one down there, too.
Awesome. Oh, great, wonderful.
Persian Gulf.
Okay, let's do yeah, it was wonderful. So let's do a quick segue because we got so much to pack in. I want to cover the CSS system, company scale system, just for a moment, if we
Oh,
could.
my Berlin
So
map. I love this
can
map.
you let us know
Whoa.
what we? I'll zoom in here in a moment, but I don't know how many maps this is. Maybe you can give
This is
us an
the top.
overview of what we're looking at here for company scale system Berlin.
I forget if it's 4 or 5 maps.
Oh,
This is
another
2
big
maps.
one.
Yeah. Well, it's not my fault. It's Berlin. It's the size.
It's the scale.
Make it smaller. I'll make a smaller game. Yeah,
Yep, nice.
this is also a work in progress.
It's a beautiful looking map. Oh, too. This one's
honor.
gorgeous. Look at the detail. Holy
He's
smoke!
doing every individual building. He's been on it for a long time.
Wow. Yeah,
Anyway.
he hasn't added the labels, the layer of the labels for naming the landmarks and town locations. But this is insane. This map is insane looking. Wow.
And I think it's 5 maps.
Wow.
You're looking at the British and a bit of the French sector here.
I got to zoom in so people can see the detail. It's crazy. Wow.
And Greg did a fantastic job on the research and the OB. You've got all kinds of units in this game. I mean, there are even like these fascist kind of groups that were condemned by the West German government that we're going to raise up anyway, and all kinds of stuff.
Well, that looks interesting. Whatever this is, this looks like it's like an arena water. It's got some kind of a stage, or this is really amazing. This map is really.
I'm hoping I had an old game called The Devil's Cauldron, and I used to get people who were from Nijmegen or Arnhem who would say, "I live in this building."
Oh my gosh!
And I'm hoping I get that same.
This is crazy. That is insane. Great question, and I think I've seen some developer credits already. So let me bring it up. Tom Beach is joining us on YouTube. Thanks for joining us, Tom's. He noticed that he doesn't see any developer credits in your games, but I thought I saw Ross Mortel. So
yeah, I have a developer credit in every game I've made.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So Ross Mortel, I think
he's done a lot of them. I'm not sure he's done all of them, but he's done a lot of them.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I saw Ross. I knew I saw Ross's name as a developer, but also too at a certain point, when you have, I don't know how many games now you're going to have in the OSS series that we were talking about earlier, and we got CSS here we're talking about now, but you're on game 4 or 5 now, I think, at least, right, for OSS? Vietnam, Korean War?
This will be the 3rd game. Vietnam, Korea.
Exactly. Arena Water Brawl, as somebody says. Mo is right. Yeah, that Arena Water Brawl, right? I don't know if everybody knows what I'm talking about here, but I'll show you this is just, I want to visit this area now. So this little guy right here, what in the world?
I have no idea what it is.
That's a stadium. I want to say it's a park or a.
It's still in progress too, because all
that's amazing.
It's like the road.
Yeah, gorgeous map. So absolutely stunning map and everything. So let me just check with everybody here quickly because I know time is going quickly here. We're going to be on the hour in about 10 minutes. So please, per the ticker here, just think
John,
about some.
If you could mention for people that want to, like Thomas had mentioned, he was concerned about development issues and all that. Mm-hmm. He had privately emailed me and said the same thing. The rules for Doomsday are posted somewhere. I know that they were on the Kickstarter, and I think they're elsewhere.
Yeah, they are. So let me show that here.
You can read the rules and make sure that you're good with them.
Yeah. So let me actually show that for everybody that's on the call here. So for Doomsday Project, I didn't show this, I don't think. So thanks for bringing that up, Adam. So I should do that. So let's share that now. Let's see here. Let me just add it. There we go. So this is from the Kickstarter page. With the new website, again, we got links that are broken for downloads and everything, obviously. So we've got to fix that. But if you go to the Kickstarter page for Doomsday, which is, let me see, do I have the Kickstarter page? Yes, I have it right here. So we just ran this, a little while ago. So here's Doomsday Project Episode 1. Just do a search on Doomsday Project. You'll find it very easily. You'll get the little video that shows all the contents. That's showing the other games, reminding everybody of the other games in the system, showing more information about the game, the maps, etc. But when you scroll to the bottom, obviously you're going to get access to the rules and even the rules to the other games. But here you got access to the rule booklet right here, and that is this right here. So when you click on this link, again, we've got the download PDF in the upper left where the logo is. You can just please check out the Kickstarter page for now until the website updates with the links, but you can definitely check out the rule booklet here for Doomsday Project Episode 1. So thank you, Adam, very much. I thought I had skipped over this part tonight. I definitely want to show the rules being available online for everybody. So definitely can get there again, you can see here a lot of good graphics, information tables, so on and so forth. Talking about each marker.
There's another book, the scenario book that has, I think, 5 scenarios. There's Battle for Berlin, which you can learn this system, then Fulda-Gap, Battle for Fulda-Gap, Battle for Northag, Battle for Centag, and then the campaign game for all of it. You can, and then there's a massive 15-page example of play.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. On back to the CSS, back to the CSS time.
Yeah, I know the map's going to get some attention. I was aware of that. There'll be single map scenarios, although I haven't blocked them out yet because I'm still waiting on Antonio getting me the map. But there'll be, I'll have a battle for the French sector, a battle for the British sector, battle for the American sector. And then depending on how it works out well, I'll probably combine 2 sectors. Maybe it'll be British and American sector. And then you'll have the campaign game. It'll be something like that.
Will the Sino-Soviet game be set in the 80s as well, Adam?
Yeah, they're all set in 85.
All in 1985? Okay. Yeah. Let's see here. A few more questions. Question from Shin Godzilla on YouTube. How do you feel with the common issue in war games of combat not attriting the attacker at realistic levels? So he's looking for more soaking off of the attacking units during maybe a favorable...
Yeah, and this is actually an issue that came up for people, not for me in my design, but for Korea and Vietnam, where the attacker generally, if you win the battle, it's not necessarily the attacker, but the winner of the battle doesn't face losses maybe at all in those 2 games. Not true here, but you are benefited by winning the combat. Where in particular the attacker is highly attrited is in the Test of Faith game, because when the Israelis attack, they face the saggers, and that's going to knock them out. When the Egyptians or the Syrians attack, they face hold down. Israelis, these are both rules in the game, saggers and hold down. And they'll be wiped out. And then there's some Zika, who's a special tank commander, did really well. He'll knock out guys before they attack.
Interesting.
I forget in Doom. Forgive me. I had that in Doomsday in June. I forget. There is a mechanism. If you're attacking with a lesser tank, like a lesser value tank, you automatically take a loss at the end. So regardless of whether you win the attack or you're the attacker or not. So if it's T-55 against an M1. If you declare the support, if you add the T-55s in, you may get the benefit, but at the end of the combat, the T-55s will take losses.
I think the good news. I think the good news for everybody, which we just touched upon here, is all the rule booklets. The core rule booklets are going to be available for all your games and future releases because they, as you can see, they're all going through Kickstarter as well. So I'm glad Tom's just mentioning thanks. I can do the read of the rules now, which he was definitely interested to learn more about the system. Also, they're asking about when Doomsday is shipping. It's going to ship in
now.
I was told second week of March. So great question, Danielle. So I talked to Bill this afternoon.
I'll get a Doomsday for my birthday.
There you go. So I talked to Bill, and he says next week, basically. So next week, second week of March. So sometime next week, Daniel, Doomsday is going to be shipping. As I'm not sure exactly how the timelines work out for third-party retailers, because it also has to go through distribution. It depends if it's a direct order from a retailer versus going through distribution as a middleman to a retailer. So figure several weeks. And I know with the pandemic and everything, there if it's going a long distance, like overseas, there's always delays involved there. But obviously, we're not holding back. We're not holding back wanting to get titles out into the market. We do all the direct orders, fulfillment first for Kickstarter, and direct pre-orders, and any direct orders. That always happens first, and then we take care of the distribution retailers after that, for sure. Let's see if there's any other questions. Mo's also linked the rules on Discord. So Discord channel, as a reminder for you. Actually, I've got to check on our new website. I don't know if I have a link for Discord, but again, if anybody gets our newsletter once a week, you'll see the Discord link there. I'll make sure I add it to the website. So you can definitely find it if you're part of our newsletter. We have that Discord link also on the Consum World forum on the Compass Games topic, you'll find the Discord link as well. We'll do an after party there that Mo helps us with every time we get together Thursday nights. So anybody who knows how to hit Discord tonight will be meeting there right when we finish. Let's see here. John makes a comment. I'm thinking this is incredibly complicated. Maybe I'm wrong. He could be talking. I'm not sure which game he's talking about. I'm not sure what the context is because we've talked about a few. I don't know if it's the soaking off question he's commenting on or not.
The only incredibly complicated game I have coming is the Gettysburg game based on Road to Washington. That'll be pretty complicated. These, I would say Doomsday, by the way, is more comparable to Next War, Under an Iron Sky kind of game. It's a similar scale than it would be to Third World War and Next War. But I wouldn't say it's more complicated than Next War or Under an Iron Sky. It might even be a little less complicated. It might be a little harder to play.
The good news, John, is you can check out the rules. If we're talking about Doomsday, you can definitely check out the rules now. And then for Test of Faith, those rules will become available shortly as we get closer to release. But if Doomsday for sure, you can check it out. And then Test of Faith, if you have a question, you can definitely see what the complexity of the game looks like.
The complexity of the two is very similar. Test of Faith.
Okay, perfect. And then Michael did something. He's our investigator. He's our Michael Kwan, by the way. I should have introduced him. He's our on-site live investigator. He researches everything we talk about. So that curve building is the Strandbad, Jungfernheide. So it's a lake park, exactly. So wonderful. I have not been there. I think I'm going to have to visit there when I can travel to Europe again. I think I'm going to absolutely, because of this episode, I'm going to remember this, and I'm going to take my wife there. I'm going to have to check it out. It's near Tegel Airport.
I'm grateful.
I was there.
Yeah, no, I know it's not. The airport hasn't actually been made yet. I know it's right near the airport because I know where the airport is. But of course, I had that fear that Michael didn't find it. Like it doesn't exist or something like that, and I haven't proved it yet, and all that stuff. So thank God it exists. Thank you, Michael. So, happy birthday! Yeah, mine's nice little. 10th. Which, by the way, I know that he wasn't as popular at the end of his days as he was in the beginning. But I share a birthday with Richard Berg.
And Richard Berg, yes, he's missed.
First time I will have a birthday, and I won't.
When's his birthday? When's Richard's birthday? Do you know when Richard's birthday is?
Same day as mine.
Oh wow!
So, this will be the first year. I think first year since he's gone. So I'll think of him. And although I knew Richard for years and years and years, and I always had a fondness for him. So. I know, in the social media world, he became sort of a bête noir, but
people gotta. It is what it is, I guess. Just to let everybody know, I've posted, and I'll show it here. I've posted a link. So I don't think you can click on the link in YouTube or Facebook chat, but it's a very short link. HTTPS link. It's Linktree, but it has the .ee there. But if you go there, you'll get the link to our Discord channel, so you can join us in the after hour party here. And the after party, just if you eyeball this link, copy and paste it out of the message chat window, you will see an invite. You will see the link to Discord channel near the bottom of that page. So I just want to give a heads up on that. Let's see. How does CSS compare to OSS for complexity, Adam?
It's an interesting question. CSS, OSS. How do I describe it? There are conceptual complexities in OSS that you don't get in CSS.
Okay.
So I think OSS is a harder play. Like you look at it.
What do you have to go through and decide?
Yeah. Well, in most games. You're going to forgive me, I'm going on too long, but most games,
it's fine.
There is a clear choice to how to win. And part of the game is figuring out what that choice is. CSS has that. Almost all games do. OSS, there is no clear choice. There are several different choices that you can make, and you will not know if it's the right choice. They all seem valid choices. So, because like you can move one unit and overrun and move another unit and overrun, or you can move a bunch of units and attack like a normal frontal attack.
Okay.
So, conceptually, it's a harder play.
I've seen people playing. I've seen people playing both I've seen both series played at Compass Games Expo, the OSS and the CSS, And yeah, I mean, they're all having a great time. And I don't, in some games, you'll see people really studying the rules book, that really trying to figure something out. I didn't get that sense from the players at the Compass Games Expo that were playing your games. It seemed like they were pretty much focused on moving pieces versus looking up rules. So for what that's worth, I just didn't notice anybody getting stuck or off to the side trying to figure something out. I don't know if
No,
they've played it before.
although they were playing Korea, which is an easier play. Korea is my baby. I love Korea. It's a nice, quick, easy play with all the complexity, the conceptual complexity, but it's mechanically pretty easily. So
I think, you're getting the nod here. CSS is very playable. And again, I would say, the rule booklets, again, once we get the website updated with those links, you can download the rules, for the CSS rules for one of those games. What's the most recent CSS game rule booklet they want to look at, you think? Fold a Gap. That's right. And then Michael, your Google Map skills are very strong tonight, so kudos to you. Martin is wondering, would you consider doing a quad game approach in the future? Yeah, he wants to know about this system in particular, so let's call it what it is.
Which one, OSS or CSS?
Let's say CSS. Let's say company scale system. Let's start with
CSS has a similar problem. I had an old game system with MMP called GTS. And there's a problem breaking it down too small. They were designed from the ground up to be big games. You start having some sort of luck issues of there aren't enough things that are happening to parcel out. Thank you, Greenhorn. Thank you. There aren't enough variants to mitigate the luck, so it's difficult. OSS is easier to do that. There's not the wild luck swings that you get from chip pools that you get in CSS. I am going to make a one mapper. I think. Well, CSS has a giant thing coming and a small thing coming. Okay. I'm going to do a game on Borodino.
Nice. Borodino. Nice.
41,
right? Yeah.
That's probably going to be next year. But I'm also doing, to take all my Test of Faith stuff, a massive CSS game on the Yom Kippur War. So yeah. If there were all 4 maps, I could easily do, of course.
I don't know if we have a 4-inch box. We have a 3-inch box, Tom's, but I don't know if we have a 4-inch box. That might be a new one for us. I don't know.
Will be, I'm going to do a game on Third Army, Second Army, and the Golan, and I think it's like 12 maps.
We got to do like the albums, like the rock albums in the 70s. We got to do this big slide out. Those multi-LP sets. We've got to do like an 8-inch, 12-inch accordion style of every game Adam Starkweather's done, OSS, CSS combined, do it like an accordion set, pull it out. We're going to have a nice little 14-inch box. It would be awesome. I think we're ready. So Tom's giving the thumbs up, but he's looking forward to Yom Kippur. And then
Tom, it's a big game. That CSS and Yom Kippur. Big.
Yeah, there's the Quinto LP.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember Beachhead, and there were a bunch of other.
Whenever I see Quinto, I think of Ted Knight wearing his conquistador shoes and on the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
I remember Swashbuckler, and there were so many album titles. I think there was a landing boats, PT boats one. I can't remember. They did so many titles, but 14-inch box is taken already. Damn it. Damn, ASL already did it. I forgot. You're right. Okay. Adam's going to do more titles. We'll do a 16-inch box.
I got to come up with a better name. All these people have great names. I met a guy who goes by Skull yesterday.
Oh, we got some great titles in here. All righty. So, I know we had to cover a lot, so I hope I didn't broad stroke too many things here, but I think the main
Gettysburg
takeaway...
next year. You wanted to hear about that? Gettysburg next year, based on Road to Washington. That'll be in 2021.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Is that an active? Done. I didn't know you were. So it's on Gettysburg. Great.
And Combat 2 is done. We're just waiting to get into the queue. Big expansion for Combat.
Yeah.
With tanks and SS. It's fabulous. Ross did a great job on that. And then I'm going to do the Northern stuff. Charles, it's a great game. I'm pretty proud of it. Get Doomsday. Play that first and see if you like it.
What's this now? Adam's very healthy guy. We did a health check with Adam. He's going to be around forever. We're going to do like 18 inch.
Which, by the way, means I'm not that healthy a guy.
All the
You know?
Doomsday games in one box. See, I'm gonna have to go back to Bill Thomas now. We got the whole craving for the quad games, and that was brought up tonight too. But now we're gonna have this big box set, which reminds me, Grognard Simulations. They do an actual crate box for all their Deathrite Curse games. I think it's like I want to say it's like $2,000, $3,000, which is a discount because
Yeah,
it's
of
so many
course.
games. But it's in this awesome army. It's like an army ammo box crate. I don't know if anybody's seen it online, but we're talking big tonight with Adam here. Let's see. Tom knows about Road to Washington. Yep. Grand Tactical Civil War series. I think that's one just doesn't
You
get
want to
enough
develop it
coverage.
for me, Thomas?
Yeah,
You want
Thomas,
to
you want to be the developer for
Yeah.
be the developer for the game, Thomas. There you go. Adam's looking for somebody. All of Compass games in one box. Sure, that's called U-Haul. That's
And
called a
Shin
pod.
Godzilla. It's an appropriate name.
It is. That's a great name. Kaiju too. That's awesome. I love that. Contact series in a single box. Steve's got a series of games. I think it's 20 to 30 games so far. So that's going to be bigger than the ammo box probably. So it looks like box sets is the theme. I guess we're gonna just have to see your designs keep coming, and then one day we'll do the massive deluxe box set, and we'll get the LP albums out, which will be you talking about each game. We'll have your interviews on an old LP album, so we can pull out the old LP player and listen to Adam Starkweather while we're playing the game.
Well, like her, or should I go like heavy metal? Death metal.
We're gonna have to do the whole. We're gonna have to have the whole segue music. We're gonna have to figure out for sure. What about for Budapest 44 doing CSS?
It's CSS would be like 10 maps, but OSS definitely a possibility there.
OSS for OSS, okay. Andrew says yes. The postage to Australia is going to be considerable. So maybe you just want to buy the boat and just put the box on top. It's probably worth the price.
Or just fly here, pick it up, and fly back.
Pick it up at a convention, and just to put it on the plane as freight or something. Tom definitely wants to be involved somehow with you. So
sure, just email me.
Okay, email Tom, email him, and you'll earn some vinyl for doing that for sure. Have you ever thought about a science fiction game, Adam?
Very much so. I've thought about a science fiction game. I worked on one for a little while, and I may very well return to that. I've got some advanced work done on that. I'd love to do that. That'd be fun.
I forgot Richard Berg's date of passing, so maybe John's
so it was last year. Well, with COVID, I guess.
Yeah, everything's like a lost year, unfortunately. Berlin, Berlin
that's
45.
something to talk about. I got this incredible map by Antonio. That water park that Schadenfreude, Loisenfreude was probably there back then, right? So I'm looking at this map and going, man, I should do 45. How much different?
Well, we got the bod. We got to use the bod. The water's there. We got to use it.
The water hasn't changed.
45.
Probably
Come on,
hasn't
don't hold
changed.
back.
So, or East Berlin probably hasn't changed. But anyway, so I'm thinking, maybe I'll do CSS 45. I got to look into the OB though. I can't. 45 German OB, 45 Russian OB. It's got to be a bear. But I will have Greg look into it. And,
all right. Well, I think this episode is going to be known as Compass Games in Flames because we've talked about so many bloody titles, so many projects, past, present, and future that you have. We can't keep up with you, Adam. You've got so many exciting titles going. And the good news is, again, anybody can check out the rules for these games online, and we'll be posting Test of Faith rules in the future here. That will be the next game, I think, that will be going through the release cycle. Doomsday will be shipping probably by end of next week. So excited to see what everybody thinks of that. And then, getting that
proud of Doomsday. I want to see people play it and tell me what you think. It's weird. It's got some weird stuff in it.
Absolutely. And then we've still got some game suggestions coming through from people. So you can see here, our group is very good about
48 CSS Berlin 48.
They're coming up with all kinds of game titles and what they're talking and etc. So lots of ideas. Our group always has great ideas for game themes and topics, and did not disappoint tonight. Even though you've got Civil War. Let me see if I got this straight. What era? So have you picked an Ancients game yet? I think you said
no, but I pitched it to Bill and Ken of doing a Justinian game.
Justinian. Okay, Justinian Ancients. And then what about OSS Naval Add-on Module?
Oh yeah,
or just pure
Doomsday.
naval?
Doomsday will have a CPR in the state kind of scale game in it for the naval
Cool.
situation.
Didn't know that.
So you have the whole
Very
world, and
cool.
it also have like a strategic nuclear one to add a little cheer and fun.
Excellent.
That it goes bad and it goes strategic nukes in
Okay.
Doomsday, but it's selective. You can only use a few.
Tactical. All right.
Yeah, it's in the game.
All right. Oh my
wide, but
God. Well, I'm gonna say cheers to you. We covered a lot of projects tonight. Obviously,
I
Doomsday
finished
was.
mine while I was listening to you in the beginning.
Let's see, you finished all your designs. Well, I did my intro. That's what Bill Thomas would say. Guaranteed, and mark my words, people would agree with that. So, so thank you so much for being on. Oh yeah, the Napoleonic game as well. People don't want you to forget that. So that's Andrew's soft spot. Actually, he's got his Napoleonic game coming out fairly soon. Napoleon's Imperium. So yeah, Napoleonic game. Definitely go for it, Adam, as Andrew says there. And Martin's all for nuke, so at least we've got that base covered, so we are good to go.
Gotta make Martin happy.
Everybody, we're gonna get on this nuke site topic now. It's gonna devolve at this point, so I'm gonna let you go, Adam.
Just to be sure, nuke him from space.
All right. Well, we went a little bit over. I apologize for that. We're 10 past the hour, but want to thank you so much. We had a great audience tonight. Really excited about Doomsday. Test of Faith is right around the corner. Sounds like maybe Tom.
right after that, and then Balkans after that.
Balkans after that to go with Doomsday. So episode 2 will be Balkans. So a lot of exciting stuff down the pike. So Adam, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a while, but it was great to have you back on. And it sounds like we'll have you back on again for Test of Faith in, a few months, probably.
Yeah, and tell me on the after party, give me all the best gowns. Let me know.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Thank you so much, Adam. It was a pleasure to talk to you again tonight, and looking forward to next week in Doomsday shipping.
Thank you, John. I'll talk to you soon.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Good night.